Hello, it's Bio here from InstantOfflineGuru.com. In this video, I'm going to answer the most frequently asked questions, 8 of them to be specific, about high-ticket chiropractor niche marketing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my thoughts, my answers and my recommendations to all of these questions. These aren't the only questions, these aren't the only frequently asked questions, but these are the 8 questions that are actually asked the most. I've gone back and I've polled my members, my coaching class and my mentoring students, and I've also looked back to previous coaching sessions that we ran, and these are the questions that have come up. And when you look at the questions, it actually makes sense, because all of these questions have to do with that key thing that is known as visibility. Without a doubt, you need to be able, you need to have the knowledge, the skills and the experience to actually have these discussions with local chiropractors. But what's more important than your ability is actually your visibility. And so these questions center around not only ability but also visibility. And then once I do get that visibility, what do I need to do? How do I have discussions on things like pricing? So that's what I'm going to cover. So let me give you very quickly an overview of what's covered within these frequently asked questions and within this video. The first question that's come up, and these aren't in order of priority by the way, I just set them out this way, is why do you believe there's a high demand for marketing consultants in the chiropractor market? Well, that's one question, but I actually have 5 responses that I'm going to give. These are 5 reasons based on what I've done to date and based on those that I've worked with, what they have done to date. These are the things that make this a very, very good market for you to be in. So I'm going to reveal 5 things there. The second question was, how do you describe chiropractor niche marketing and consulting? Well, that's also a brilliant question, because it's one thing for you to be in the midst of, very highly targeted and relevant local chiropractors. It's another thing for you to be able to actually describe what you do in a way that allows them to determine, based on what their goals are and based on their plans for their practice, whether you and them are a good mix for each other. And I'm going to reveal to you 6 things specifically that will allow you to actually answer this question. And so when you bump into a chiropractor at your next networking event, or if you do determine that you want to go and survey them, which is a way for you to gain visibility and start building your expert status and credibility, you won't be lost for words, you won't be tongue-tied. Okay, so that's what we'll be covering in that. A question also that comes up again is, what skills do I actually need to be successful? Again, as always, a brilliant question, and I give you 20 things. Now these are 20 things that you can basically tick off and say, right, I'm good in 17 of them, but the remaining 3, they're things I need to work on. Or you might be good in all of them, and then that means, well, that's that taken care of. So, because remember I said ability is one thing, visibility is another, but we can't play down ability when it comes to working with local businesses, whether it's chiropractors or it's any other niche. So that's what I'll be covering there. Let's look very quickly over at let me take it from here. Now, should I work locally, nationally or internationally? A brilliant question. And working locally has its pros, it has its cons, it has its advantages and also its disadvantages. And these are things that I'll cover with you in answering this question. So you have local has advantages, has disadvantages. Working nationally and internationally as well. This is working with chiropractors who are based outside of your country of wherever you're working out of. There are advantages and disadvantages, so we'll be covering those, and then you can determine for yourself which path you want to take. I normally say that there are different types of chiropractors in terms of how they work. The question that I get asked is, well, should I then focus on a particular type of chiropractor? And that's a good question as well, and I'm going to answer that question from 3 different angles. Those angles allow us to cover off that question in such a way that you can determine for yourself immediately, and of course I do give you my recommendations, but you can determine for yourself immediately which path you need to follow. Because this, remember, no matter what I tell you, even though I've been successful and working in this particular target market, what you do and the path you take has to be driven and determined by your business goals and your business model. But what I'm discussing with you is my business model. I discuss the things that worked, the things that didn't. But remember, things that may work for me may not work for you. Things that work may not work for you, may work for me, vice versa. It's got to be based on your business model. And I'll give you enough information so that you can make that determination by yourself. But you'll make a very, very intelligent decision. One question that probably should be at the top of the pile is, what is the biggest mistake that I could make as an offline consultant when working with chiropractors? To me, this is an even more important question than how much should I charge, because if you get this right, your chances of success are pretty wide open. If you get this wrong, I can virtually guarantee that you will not make a sale, and that all your efforts just will be wasted. So you can avoid that by doing two things. There's one thing that you have to avoid. I know the question is about what is the biggest mistake, and the biggest mistake here is the biggest mistake that I made, and that I, from talking with chiropractors, the research we've done and we continue to do, there's one thing that is the biggest mistake that you can make. But then there's something else that follows that closely on its heels, and I reveal that in this particular, when answering this particular question. The next question is, I want to get started, and this is something that I hear quite a lot. People say, look, I really don't have time for training. I want to make money now, right now. I can't spend the next 6 weeks or 12 weeks or however long it is you're saying learning this stuff. I want to make money now, like, yesterday. And I get that. I understand what it's like when, you feel like you have to make money because there are bills to pay, there are other things you need to do. I give you my candid response, and actually I go beyond that. I give you my most candid response. I tell you the reason why that, and it may not be what you're thinking, and then I give you 5 other reasons, right, why you need to take a particular path, no matter where you are right now within your offline marketing consulting, no matter what your situation is. I give you 5 other things that support that recommendation that I make. So if that's you, if you've got any of my products in the past, you'll notice that I really don't say, look, you can do this and by tomorrow you have a chiropractic client. That's not what not saying that it's not possible. It's just that, again, based on what I know that works, there are certain things that need to be done. So am I saying that you can't go out and make it happen tomorrow? That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that there are certain things that you cannot avoid doing. Okay, it's just the way it works, unless there are things about this that I don't really know. So that's what I answer, and I don't just give you one response. Like I said, I give you 6 in total. And then pricing, because obviously we're not a not-for-profit. Even though the fact is that the way that sometimes when you look around you, the way you see people treating their business, they do those things that are not revenue generating. Those things, no matter what happens, let's just be honest, there are so many solutions and possibilities available to anyone that's interested in being successful in offline marketing consulting, and it doesn't matter what solutions I make available to you. I know people that have given me all sorts of results. They say, I don't know how to do A, B, or C. Well, go find out. There are so many products available from pretty smart people within the offline consulting niche. I mean, there are just so many brains and minds out there that you need to go out and go learn. You just can't bypass. If you don't know something, it's not just going to magically happen and you'll acquire those skills. But I talk about pricing. Now, pricing is key, because until you actually exercise, asking for certain fees can be daunting, but until you actually get out there and ask the right fees, and notice that I said ask the right fees, it's going to be hit and miss, or else it'll be total miss because you're not actually doing anything. The challenge when it comes to pricing is really in the asking. And to be able to ask does take courage. It doesn't come easily. It didn't come to me easily to be asking for high fees, even though I was used to billing for high fees in the past. But asking an entrepreneur, a local business owner, to write a check, it was almost like asking someone for money. So it took a mindset shift, and you can actually achieve this mindset shift when you know that the fees that you're asking are well justified for what you're going to be offering. But it does take, you need to know what this is. So whether it takes you an hour to practice, or 2 hours, or a day, or 2 days, that's just something that needs to be done. And if that's the case, if you can't get over that fear of asking for high fees, well, let it take you 2 weeks, but get there. But I find that in many cases, people spend at least 3 hours per day building their business, but they're not really making any money. They're not making any money because they're not able to ask and get the right fees. You need to be able to do this to be successful in the chiropractor niche. Too many people think they're building their business. Now, they're doing things they think are building their offline marketing consulting business, like surfing, studying things they've already studied, reading emails, thinking about building a business, and so on. And the sad thing is, if you can't get your pricing right, all those other things you're doing, none of those things generate revenue. And if something doesn't generate revenue, in my books, it's not a business. It might be a not-for-profit or a hobby or something else, but it's definitely not a business. So the question I'll ask you is, are you serious about building a business? If you are, master the skill of asking the right price and getting it. And that's what I'm going to give you answers to. I'll give you 4 answers to that under pricing. So this is what I'm going to be covering. This is what you're going to be discovering within this particular video. It's like I said, it's on frequently asked questions. If after watching the video you have more questions, all you need to do really is go to the blog and post the questions, because this is going to be available on the blog. Post your questions and I'll be more than happy to answer them as candidly as I can. I can't guarantee that the answer I'll give you will be the answer you want to hear, but it'll be the answer that I have available, and that's to the best of my knowledge. So look out for the video. You'll get the link, get the information, and be able to go watch it.